I don't know why I'm not getting the results. I'm doing everything. And that is such victim fucking energy, because when you say that, you take away your opportunity to be like, what more can I do? What else can I do? You take your autonomy away. Welcome to Did I Stutter with Jill Perick. And yeah, I probably did because I have a stuttering disability. But I'm also a multiple six-figure business and mindset coach who's here to help you shut down the mindfuckery of imposter syndrome, self-doubt, and playing the nice girl in your content so you and your brand can blow the fuck up and so you can stack the motherfucking cash. I'm holding absolutely nothing back. We're talking marketing, messaging, mindset, subconscious healing, nervous system regulation, and how to do it all even with raging anxiety, ADHD, and just being a fucking human. If fuck is one of your favorite words and nothing can get in between you, your iced coffee, or the work that you're here to do, I'm your girl. Let's dive in. Hello. How are you guys? Let's talk about being a person that is intrinsically motivated, that is doing all of the things that you need to be doing, and you're still wondering, where are the big results? Where's the big explosion? Where are the sales that, I'm working towards? And the reason why I feel like so confident in telling like this story and leading you through something like this is because not only have I helped a lot of clients go from the space of like, okay, I feel like I'm doing everything right? Like I'm showing up, I am visible, but there are a couple of pieces that they are not doing, or things that they are not tweaking behind the scenes with their identity, even with their strategy, that actually is what causes the momentum and what causes things to fucking pop off. So since August, I have done 188K in sales, and that is coming off of the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year, I was depressed. The beginning of the year, I was running offers, but I didn't feel super excited about them. I didn't feel very excited about my signature space. I felt like I had outgrown it, but I still had clients in there and I was trying to serve them. But because of the way that I was showing up and because of the way that I was leading also behind the scenes, because I also had like a very tumultuous business thing that was happening behind the scenes that was really causing me a lot of shame. First of all, I'm going to dive into all of this. Like I'm going to give like the real receipts from how I went from depressed and in a dip to 188K in sales and counting since August. So just over 4 months, which is insane. Right? I'm going to be talking about it all in the Rebirth Receipts. So the Rebirth Receipts is a free event that I am doing in December. You can get that and join that now at the link in my bio. It's completely free, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I did, the who, the what, the when, the how, everything, so you can have your blow up season 2. So let's go back to the fact that like, okay, I was dealing with something behind the scenes. I was feeling depressed. I was in a dip. But I am somebody who has been doing this for years. Right? Like I have been doing this for years, and that like I have been consistent for years. I have always been visible. I have always been selling my offers. So I would tell myself, like I have like a unique situation in that like there are a lot of people who actually aren't doing the things that they need to be doing. I am not one of those people. Like a lot of the time I am doing everything that I need to be doing. Also, years ago, when I started my business and I was showing up and selling, I would have like these calls where I would get on calls with my coaches. And I have hired a lot of coaches. I've done a lot of investing. I've hired a lot of fucking coaches. And I've also very much evolved in how I deal with mentorship and how I get coached. Because when you're not that mature in a business sense, like you can be very mature, but then coming into business, there's also a business maturity that comes with experience and with understanding what questions to ask your coach and with understanding how the industry works and everything, right? So I would get on calls with my coaches and I would be like, tell me what to do because I'm doing everything. I was that annoying bitch that would be like, well, I'm already showing up. I'm already doing this. Like, what else could I be doing? And at the time, it was me being like, okay, I am showing up and doing everything I need to be doing, right? But it was also like my ego being like, there couldn't possibly be more that I could be doing. And what if this all is evidence that I'm not supposed to make it? What if this all is evidence that I am not supposed to be successful? Because it was so easy for me to look at everything I was doing and be like, I am working 10 times harder than a lot of other people. So why don't I have the results? And it was twofold. The first thing is that like, okay, if I do everything and I still don't get the result, that proves to me I'm not good enough. That proves to me that like I can't be successful. And then on the other side of things, it's like, okay, well, if I do everything and then a client comes in, so if I do everything and I am working so fucking hard and I'm still not getting the result that I want, and then a client comes in and they're doing everything, I'm not going to believe that they're going to be able to get the result. And that makes me not want to sign any motherfucking clients. So that was happening at the beginning. That was happening at the beginning where I would have all this fear around signing clients and them getting results and me not getting all these results and blah, 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 blah. And then I would get onto coaching calls and I would be that annoying bitch being like, hey, I'm doing all of this. Where are the results? Okay. So annoying, so annoying. And the thing is I was doing all of the things. I was being scrappy. I was doing the things that I needed to do. But there's a difference between showing up and like really putting quality effort in and actually having the belief at the same fucking time. There is a difference. And if you looked at the actions I was taking, on point. But if you looked at the belief behind it and the identity behind it and my expectation of it working and being successful, that wasn't there. And I needed to clean that shit up. So again, I started, like I have been a coach for years. So what does that mean? That means that I have seen it all. I have seen it all. I've worked with tons of clients and I've had a lot of different seasons in business. I've had ups, I've had downs, I've had times where I've been blowing up. I have times where I have been super friggin' low. And at the beginning of this year, I was experiencing a lot of seasonal depression. Like I was very seasonally depressed. My cat had just died in October. We moved. There was a lot of things happening on the personal side of things. And then on the other side of things, I was also dealing with this like business issue that was causing me a lot of shame. So at the same time, I was running my offers and I was selling things, but I was just not lit up. I was not lit up by the coaching conversations I was having. I was not moving also behind the scenes. I was in a lot of shame. I was in a lot of guilt, and it made sense that my income experienced a dip. It made total sense. When you are experiencing a dip, you always know why. And it is very liberating, but it's ego killing for you to tell yourself, I know exactly why I'm having a dip. Stop fucking telling yourself, I don't know, because you always know. And that was something that I got really stuck in for years, is like I would tell myself, I don't know. I don't know why I'm not getting the results. I'm doing everything. And that is such victim fucking energy, because when you say that, you take away your opportunity to be like, what more can I do? What else can I do? You take your autonomy away. So, like I said, the beginning of the year, I was depressed. I had all this shit going on. And I was like, okay, I need to get my shit together. And I then experienced a blow up in the summer, but all of the actions I was taking and all of the things I was doing before that led to making $188K in sales since August. And that was when things really started to compound and move. So it's not like, oh, I just started doing things differently in August. I was doing things differently after the beginning of the year and being like, this is not where I want to fucking be. I want to change my signature offer. I want to double my fucking prices. I want to do all of these things, and they're scary as fuck. But I also had to admit to myself, here we are again, Jill. You're saying that you're doing everything, but are you doing it with quality? Are you actually doing it with power and with energy and with fucking belief and confidence in yourself? And I had to have that conversation with myself again, because I've had to have it multiple times over the years. And here's what you can actually do when you think you're doing it all And I bet your ass that you're not, first of all. And second of all, if you can drop your ego for a second and have this conversation with me and be like, okay, maybe I've been telling myself I'm doing it all to give myself some reprieve, to feel good enough. And that stops today because we want to enter your fucking blow up season. Okay, so here's what you can do if you're feeling like you're doing it all. Okay. If you're doing everything with your visibility, the quality of it needs to go up. Okay, that needs to be a conversation. You can be now more specific with your pain points. You can be more specific with the desires that your clients have and what they actually want and how you help them get it. When I was like, okay, it's easy for me to show up every day. It's easy for me to create content every day. I started working on the quality of how I was showing up. This did not mean overthinking. It did not mean perfectionism. No, I was still doing the quantity, but then the quality started to get better too. And I started taking more responsibility for, okay, what am I actually fucking saying in my stories? Like, what am I actually saying to the people when I am selling my offer? So being more specific with everything. I also 10 times where I was selling. I mean, I think it comes and goes, but I think even if you are a seasoned seller, if you're having times of like not having belief in yourself and your offers, it's very common for selling to kind of drop down and be more like a whisper in terms of like, okay, well, I used to sell all the time and twice as hard. Clock that and be like, okay, we need to get back on fucking track. So selling everywhere, creating multiple ways for humans to feel you. For example, I started a free Telegram channel and I just dropped shit into there all the time. Like if I had a thought, if I had a voice audio that I wanted to send to the group, and then I would tell people on Instagram stories and in my emails, hey, I have this free channel. So I created a way to give fucking value, but without something that was going to be like just another thing like my podcast or something like that. So I created that free offer. Okay. And this is another thing you have to do. And some of you are going to turn me off from this, but here's the fucking thing. You need to invest again. You need to invest again. And it's not just about investing. It is about up leveling your identity that demands a different level from you. When I reinvested and after all the trouble that I experienced at the beginning of the year with this business thing behind the scenes, I was like, I don't need to hire another coach. I don't need to do this. Like I can keep paying the 4 figures I was paying every single month for a coach that I wasn't necessarily using. That's a whole thing. But I could just continue doing everything I'm doing and get back on track. It didn't make any sense. But then I was like, this is going to demand a different level of my authority, a different identity of myself. So I had to do it. So reinvesting in yourself and doing so not a course or like a small offer, like a 3-week offer or 2-week offer or something like that. No, like somebody that's actually going to demand a different identity of you. Something or someone that is going to demand a different level of identity from you and call you up and call you forward consistently. Because it's all cool when you join something free or you join something for a week and somebody's in there supporting you and you feel excited and you're on fire, blah, blah, blah. And then that ends. And then you are stuck with yourself and your own thoughts. And when you can't trust yourself and your own thoughts, you need to lean back on people that remind you who the fuck you are, right? So I joined a new mastermind, I hired a new coach, and it demanded a different identity of me. It stopped becoming like, oh, like I could do this, I could do that, and being like, no, like I have to do this in this way. So you need to reinvest. You need to fucking reinvest. And you need to get your fucking attitude right. Like it's so easy to get caught up in the everyday. And if you experience a lot of anxiety and depression and kind of like, what's that word where I saw it on TikTok. I think it's called like dystonia or something like that. But it's like when you don't derive joy from like a lot of things, and it's very easy when you struggle with things like anxiety or depression, or you're stressed about certain things, to feel like, wow, every day is shitty. Right? I had to get my attitude right. I had to start doing affirmations again in the fucking mirror. I had to start doing my visualizations again. Like I had to start actually being intentional again with the way that I was feeding my mind. And I did it 10 times because the ADHDer in me, the stubborn Aries in me, is just like, I don't want to sit there for a 10-minute meditation. I want to scroll instead. But I had to be like, no, like I need to feed things to my subconscious mind that are going to have me feeling really good despite the circumstances going on behind the scenes. And you need to get uncomfortable as fuck again. At the beginning of the year, I started being like, okay, you know what I haven't done in a while? I haven't gone on podcast interviews. And because I hadn't gone on any podcast interviews, like I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go on like a podcast tour. And that scared the shit out of me. Now, I've done that many times before in the business, right? But because I was dealing with a lot of depression and anxiety, my fluency with my stutter, like it was not good. And I was so nervous and anxious about being interviewed that like that caused me a lot of stress, right? So I was like, okay, I have to start to get really uncomfortable again, because when you start to do that, your confidence skyrockets. And what you don't realize is if you are telling yourself, I'm doing everything, you're probably not getting as uncomfortable as you could. And again, with all of the strategies that you're doing anyways, in terms of like being visible, showing up, like I had to really start showing my face more. I had to start going live more. I had to start creating more opportunities for people to see me again and to feel me again, because I started taking away those opportunities. And that's the first thing to go when I'm depressed or when I'm anxious, is my like forward facing visibility. Also, it's the wintertime and I don't have a tan and it's cold and I just want to sit inside in my PJs and just fucking relax. So I'm not outside. I'm not getting the vitamin D. I'm not like looking hot with my tan and in my bikini. You know what I'm saying? So it can be really easy to like hibernate and hide. So I had to realize, I'm like, okay, I need to get uncomfortable every single day again. I started doing smaller offers that demanded me to show up live and like do live calls, which I would have never done that before after like experiencing this depression and this income dip. Like I had to re-jump my own visibility again. And I had to remember who the fuck I was. I had to remember that I've wrote and published a dang book. I've made multiple 6 figures, almost 7 figures online since 2018. I have coached hundreds of clients. I have done all of the things, but like how I was feeling at that moment, I needed to, again, get my fucking attitude right and be like, okay, just because I did all of those things, it doesn't negate you from having to do the work now. And I think, again, this is where your ego is going to come in and be like, but I've already done all these things. I've already had the success, blah, blah. Why aren't people just choosing to pay me? It's because of how you see yourself and how you're being behind the scenes. And it's because of that entitlement. Okay, so that was from my Instagram Live a couple of weeks ago, but something that I also wanted to touch on, that I wanted to talk to you guys about inside of this, is we talked about identity, you know, hiring the coach, doing the things you need to be doing behind the scenes, but also it is so much easier to create momentum when you are momentous, when you are actually doing things behind the scenes that are furthering your personal development, that are moving behind the scenes with your business and the things that you're creating and the conversations that you're having. You are, and you have to be, self-sourced, because when you create this compound effect, this domino effect of sales and clients coming in, they want to be a part of something. They want to be on the ride with you on your journey. And that means talking about the things that you've been overcoming, the things that you've been working on, the stories that they themselves can see themselves in and can relate to. But also from a leadership perspective. We talked about this in my offer scene that I ran in November. And I talked about how, people try to perform vulnerability and relatability. And what they're not doing and what they're not realizing is that there's no leadership point. There needs to be a leadership point to your vulnerability. So I call this strategic vulnerability when I'm coaching my clients on this. It's around the fact that there needs to be a point of leadership when it comes to your stories, when it comes to the stories you're telling and how you're showing up. You need to be able to show them, hey, this is how I led myself through this, or this is how I can lead you through this. Otherwise, you're just performing. You're just trying to be relatable. You're just trying to share, this is what I'm feeling exactly right this second. And there's no opportunity for them to see you as an authority or see you as somebody who can fucking help them. So that's one thing, but also I think this comes from being a person who is in motion and actively moving and actively doing things behind the scenes to be somebody that is leading and for other people to look to. I think people can tell when you're stagnant. I think people can tell when you're holding back. I think people can tell when you're just kind of doing the same actions every single day and there's no actual movement for you in your identity or in how you're leading behind the scenes. So this is the kind of work I do with my clients all of the time. I have two things that I want to tell you about, and that's first, if you have heard this entire live and you're like, I need to be in Jill's world, come into the mastermind, the real deal. It's going to change your fucking life, and we are going to pop you off in 2026 with not only the strategy for you to collapse time, not only the strategy for you to create those high ticket dream clients, but also your identity, your leadership, your internal leadership, and how you lead your clients is going to explode when you join the Real Deal Mastermind. Okay, so do that before 2025 comes to a close. And the other thing is I am putting on a free event next week called the Rebirth Receipts. This is a free event that I am doing to tell you how I went from being depressed and in a dip at the beginning of the year to making $188,000 in sales at this point. Right? I'm recording this weeks in advance for you, and I have probably made a fuck ton more since then. So I'm just saying, at the point of me creating the Rebirth Receipts, it was 188K. So we're sticking with that number. And I did that within 4 months. From August to November, I closed 188,000 in sales. And I'm telling you how. I'm telling you the what, the when, the why, and how you can do it too, and how you can have your own glow up season now and in the beginning of 2026. Okay? Join that for free. It's at the link in my show notes. Also, send me a DM when you are ready to go all the fuck in on yourself and join the Real Deal Mastermind. Love you. See you next week.